You need a year-end target for Ethereum? I have one. I'm going to show you 3 different technical analysis methods that all converge at this stunning price for Ethereum. So I'm going to demonstrate that. Then, to really get you going, I'm going to give you a quarter by quarter, month by month roadmap as to how Ethereum is going to move for the rest of this year. So you'll be able to know, hey, when are the biggest spikes going to be? When's the correction? How exactly do we get to this upside target? Now, I'm your host, Bill Noble. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. Turn on alerts so you can get future price prediction videos. All right, we are going to dive into how we arrive at our 2016 target. So I'm going to share the screen and we're going to bring up an Ethereum monthly chart. We're going to begin with Fibonacci circle analysis. Frequently with all these types of analysis, it's about where you start and where you end the points that you decide to use and how credible are they. So the big high in 2017, which was very euphoric, I'm going to start there and I'm going to stretch my fib circles out to the top in 2021. Okay, so, that puts this realm 6,000 in possibility. But what you really want to stay tuned for is, can I prove it? Can there be more than one indicator that confirms what I'm saying? All right. Then we're going to go to Fibonacci time zone. So these indicators use Fibonacci mathematics to help you find places, prices, and time. So what I want to do, because I'm interested in vertical moves, and I'm sure you are too, I'm going to start with the COVID low in March of 2020, and I'm going to stretch out these numbers to stop at the high of the move back in 2020, like DeFi summer, NFTs, that first vertical leg. And what these things do is they automatically stretch out into time. In other words, they use Fibonacci numbers like 1, 3, 5, 8, 13, coming from the Fibonacci sequence, which is a guy back in Italy long time ago who came up with what he called the numbers in nature. And these numbers have become technical analysis indicators. So wouldn't you know that if we're connecting 2 big highs with the circle, and then we use this time projection, right? We click here, and it projects out, look where it winds up. It winds up around $6,000 for Ethereum in January of 2026. Okay, so that's really interesting. But there's more. And don't forget, don't go anywhere, because we've got the month-by-month roadmap or quarter-by-quarter roadmap. Now, we're going to go to Fibonacci extension. So in other words, when you have a trend, how far can it extend? So we're going to assume that the uptrend in ETH on a big picture basis started at the bottom of FTX in 2022, and the first leg stretched itself out to the highs in 2024. Now, ETH has been in corrective mode, but if ETH stretches itself out to the 618 extension, so Fibonacci terminology is like you have a 38% retracement or a 38% extension. Wouldn't you know, a 618 extension of the post FTX uptrend hints 6,000. All 3 of these indicators, pretty much very simple. So I made the video. It's like, wow, 6,000 for Ethereum by the end of the year. Today, July 16th, it's currently having a crazy up day at 3,300. Now, when you know. Now, with this in mind, right, with this, nifty TA happening, we're going to transition now into like the roadmap. One thing you want to be advised about on the roadmap, going back to FTX, is this is Tom DeMark's work. And wouldn't you know that FTX started right around 3,300. So all Ethereum has done is unwound all this terrible bearishness. And there's a very big DeMark breakout point right around 3,900. Now, interestingly enough, after running like Ethereum, its charts through a special model that's designed to think like a famous technical analyst, William Gann. And that helps me come up with the month-by-month forecast, which happens to match the TA I just gave you showing 6,000 is the year-end target. Now, rather than present the whole Word document to you like a school teacher, I'm just going to tell you the story. So without seeing the DeMark chart, the Gann model thinks that in July, Ethereum is going to break out through 3,900. It's going to click and go to 3,980 specifically, right? There are a lot of things going on, with the planet Mars. Gann was very into planetary movements, right? It's time for an Ethereum renaissance. There's also a big solar eclipse in September. Sometimes markets can trend strongly into solar eclipses. It's what happened with the Bitcoin ETF. When Bitcoin went from, 16,000 to 48,000 kind of on a line, that was an eclipse rally into an eclipse. Now in August, we're talking about 4,600 for ETH. And that makes sense, right? I mean, that's roughly near ETH's high. Bitcoin took out its high. XRP took out its all-time high. And Ethereum, is it so much to ask? Is it so unrealistic that if ETH's going to be at 6,000 at the end of the year, that, I don't know, it can start blowing through 4,000 or 4,500 like in the next 30 days? At the end of the summer, and again, accelerating into the eclipse to 5,200 in September. So if you think that there's FOMO now, there really isn't. Because if you consider going from 3,300 to 5,200 in 2 months, that fits the narrative of gradually and then suddenly, okay? Because as that eclipse energy picks up, ETH can go faster and faster. That's how Gann thought. So we're still looking at 6,000 from like Fibonacci TA, but the Gann model that has not seen that TA still thinks, hey, yeah, we can go to 5,200 in September. Then after the eclipse, sometimes you get reversals. So the October high could be 5,900, and then there could be a substantial correction. So, FOMO comes in, ETH makes a new high above 5,000. Everybody gets very euphoric in October, and then it kind of comes off hard back to 5,000 in November. Okay, it's again, this is right off the Gann forecast. I'm kind of giving you the flavor. Right? And then in December, the payoff is that the model came up with a target of 6,100 for the end of December, with a range coming in January of next year between 6,000 and 6,300. So 2 different models, 2 different modalities came up with the exact same conclusion that you could see ETH at 6,000 at the end of the year. Now, of course, there are fundamental drivers, right? The layer 2 networks underneath Ethereum could run the entire financial system. That's how big it is. Ethereum is a proven network. Nvidia is worth $4 trillion as of July 2025. Okay, Ethereum is considered a very cheap equity, because after all, it is an ETF. So you could have mutual funds and big players buying the Ethereum ETF, thinking Ethereum is just a cheap tech stock. Most people in crypto don't believe in Ethereum anymore, which is all the more reason it could be an unbelievable rally, because the people who could force it higher, like TradFi, are high conviction buyers. And as they drive price higher, that is going to pull in retail FOMO. I saw something recently on X where some guy said, you know what? You may not see retail FOMOing back into crypto until ETH takes out 4,000. So this creates an environment. What do you do now? You look at sideways days. You look at red days. Red days are an opportunity to get involved in Ethereum. I'm your host, Bill Noble. Stay tuned for more videos.